So I'm Neil McRae, I look after architecture at BT. I'm going to start really by talking about a bit of an overview of our vision, but then kind of quickly get to some real things that we're doing. And our approach at BT is we're really focused on the customer. And too often I come to conferences like this and customers kind of a bit that we add on at the end. With my team, I irritatingly train them to think customer at the start. And I think that's made us very successful in particular. So I stood on this very stage a year ago and said we were partnering with Agile Networks. And I'm really proud and pleased to give you a view of what that's delivered. So I'm going to talk about three things. So in BT, we talk about programmable networks. We don't talk about SDN, we don't talk about NFV, we don't talk about white box, we talk about programmable networks. That's what this new network transformation for us is all about. That leads to new services, which also then requires us to do some changes in our infrastructure. I'll talk about the programmable network vision first. Here we go. So, and you probably know this already, but what we're trying to do is take all the capability that we've got and build upon it in a cost-effective and simple way. So I hear many presentations where everyone wants to throw away their legacy networks. Actually, I make about, I don't know, £18 billion a year on legacy networks. That sounds like a great business to be in. If you disagree with me on that, let me know. But what we want to do is build upon it. So where it makes sense to use a old school appliance, then we'll use it. We're not religious about it. But as long as we can automate it and manage it, and we've been doing a lot of focus on that last piece, which I'll come to in a slide later on. What that's enabled us to do, I'm going to whisk through these slides because I've only got 20 minutes. What that's enabled us to do is to build our dynamic network services using SD-WAN, and it allows us to offer virtualized services. So today, we've launched what we call Agile Connect. It's a SD-WAN platform. We have several tens of customers on it. One huge customer that's in more than 500 sites. This is what we announced last year. It's live, it's working, it's zero touch, and customers, actually, and I said this earlier on, when we had a customer plug in one of his branch sites, he didn't believe that it just worked without him or us doing anything. But he literally plugged the box in, bang, it comes up. And there's almost a kind of a change in process with the customer, because no disrespect to our customers, because often it's true, but we're quite often the reason why customers aren't successful sometimes. Oh, well, the telco guys didn't deliver what we needed, so our project's late. Actually, we're now at the front. We've done what we need to do, and then the rest of their operations having to catch up with what we've made available. I think the point that was made earlier about connecting to cloud providers is really important too. So with our SD-WAN, using our Cloud of Clouds platform, we can connect to Amazon, Azure, Oracle, many other platforms that are out there, and that's another thing that's being really important. We've enabled an app store so you can add applications to it. You know, there are many SD-WAN providers out there that try and decide things for you. We don't try and decide things for you. So if you want to use a specific type of security, we will work with that specific type of security. So today, we're working with Zscaler as an example on one of our platforms. But really, we want the customer to make a choice and for us to be able to deploy it really quickly and at zero touch. And this is SD-WAN. I mean, it couldn't be simpler. We've integrated it in with some specific devices. Actually, we have a BT Business Hub, which can run the SD-WAN service, which all of our customers have got. So immediately in the UK, I have millions of these hubs that I can turn into SD-WAN endpoints. They're there, they're deployed. I just need to push some software to them. And that's going to give us a massive advantage, particularly in the small business area, where small businesses become slightly bigger businesses. They become 3 shops, 5 shops, a warehouse, and we're ready to deliver that to them. But really what SD-WAN for us was really about was the ability to deliver network-based services. With MPLS today, it's very difficult, very complex to deliver those services, a lot of manual intervention. So this platform really enabled us to simplify that such that we can deliver pretty much any even appliance or cloud-based service to a customer, make it look like part of their network. And customers, I mean, it's kind of a bizarre place to be in, but they're kind of like, oh my God, what do I do with this? So that's the next part of this. The other thing, and I'll talk about this a bit later, and everything that we've done, we've deployed what I call seeds of the future. We've deployed bits of capability that will allow us to pull lots of deep data and analytics, and the reason for that is very much what was talked about earlier on, in terms of we think that's going to drive a huge amount of capability when you know, robotics and artificial intelligence moves on. So this is our kind of a really simple nutshell. We have application aware, and we've translated this into words that the industry understands, because if we don't, then someone like, well, actually I won't mention them, I'll get in trouble. Some of the analysts out there maybe don't understand what our product offering is. So we do application aware routing, hybrid VPN, we do service chaining, which I just spoke about, centralized policy management. That has been, for one of our customers, that has been a transformation that they can't believe. Not only in their remote network, but in their data centers and even in their LAN, we can actually apply policy consistently and make changes. So when they add a new app, and we talked about compartmentalization earlier on, that it's available and that it works, and we have visibility of it. And then the final bullet, application of visibility. Customers want to know what's going on in their network. They don't actually, but that's not the question that they ask. They ask is why is the warehouse not pushing goods out? And the visibility that we map is to enable customers to see how their process is actually working. Yeah, they can drill in and see interface 4 and all that great stuff and packet loss here or problem here, but actually what this is about is understanding their business process and how quickly they can get their goods out, be it real goods or digital goods, to market. The other part is that we've been working on, and this is kind of in kind of trial there. Again, you know, you've probably seen this slide from just about every operator on the planet. Branch-based NFV, using VCPE. At the moment, we're working with Dell as a partner in this space, but we'll probably work with many people able to access it through our BT App Store with all the wide range of great products that we offer as part of our managed network services, but increasingly also, and that was more aimed at large enterprise, but increasingly we're starting to see small and medium businesses get much more interested in this. Particularly, you know, we had this kind of big malware incident that's really raised, really raised the interest in changing out networks and driving new network capability. That's driving us to think about the core network slightly differently, and you know, this is the world I kind of live in today, and you know, we have 5,000 network sites in the UK, and they look like that, and we need to get to the world of data centers, and that's a long process, because we have to migrate customers, and migrating customers tends to be very painful, but what we're doing is creating a common platform that we can deliver customer services, but also use the same platform for our own apps. And why is that really important? It goes back to the earlier point before. Increasingly, how customers use their apps is going to influence what we do in the core network. And being able to piece what the customer's doing in his application with what's going on in the network is going to make what the future of what our business is going to be, I believe, which is all around giving insight, giving knowledge, and really, again, giving that business view of here's what the network's doing and here is why. So we're working on that right now. We have a variety of partners. We have a prototype running with one customer, again, delivered through our SD-WAN platform. And here's one of the products. It's a real product, Unified Communications, UCaaS as a service. We can deliver this over our SD-WAN. It's zero touch. And the big challenge with Unified Comms is onboarding the customer. What's his number? What's his exchange? The secretary needs this number to pick up it's really painful. But we've kind of, using kind of some network telemetry, that we can put out there, we can actually analyze what's going on in an existing network and use that to build policy for the new network. And we've kind of taken, you know, the guys say with automation, tens of days, more like hundreds of days, and we can now actually migrate a customer in hours. And this is a challenge that we've really struggled to solve. But the way we can solve it is with our SD-WAN and our telemetry solution. That's not using AI, but it's using robotics. I think there's a next step of using AI that then actually adds and builds upon that. How have we done this? I mean, really simple. We've worked with partners like Nuage. We've built out a whole load of network automation and controllers. We've used service models to enable the telemetry that we want to grab. What's important to us is in the service model, we can pull that out, we can analyze it, and we can do something with it. That allows us to do customer migrations really quickly. And then with all of that, really give us, and Yang's, I'm using Yang as an example, it's not the only one, but it really gives us an ability to listen to the network, process, do something to the network. Listen, process, do. And that's kind of how we're thinking about how we build everything. And on all these seeds that we've planted in the networks will allow us to do more and more and more of that. We have a prototype right now with local area networks between mobile devices. So mobile device suddenly needs a capability. We can signal for that. And actually, I might use Don's mobile here and borrow some of his CPU to do a CPU-intensive task. That's where we kind of think the edge of the network is headed, and that's why network automation is super important. I'll talk about this as kind of someone asked me to put this in when they heard I was here, what are we doing on disaggregated switching? Really, I mean, the goal here is to make the service better and for less money. That's really all we're doing. We've been working with Dell, who are a fantastic partner. We've got a solution that we'll use in the aggregation part of our fiber network, saving us a huge amount of money, and we've developed all the Yang, again, working with a number of partners, developed all the models that allow us to configure this, allow us to pull telemetry out. So we were starting to give customers insight about things that are going on in their network that is of value to them. And I used this example earlier on, but we had a customer that there was a big sporting event over in Asia where pretty much the whole network ground to a halt because everybody was watching it. We're able to, and their position on it was to try and kill that. Actually, what we've said is, hey, actually, this is a big event that all your employees get around. Why don't you do something with it? And we can, using our bandwidth on demand, we'll crank the bandwidth up so you can make a celebration out of this big sporting event. And the customer was wowed in big ways by that because it really adds value to them and their employees. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, actually, we have time for a question or two.
I have lots of time for questions. Fantastic.
Well,
I like questions. It's the exciting part.
Neil's a very dynamic speaker, and I'm sure there must be some questions for him. Okay, well, actually, I do have a question for you.
There's a slide missing from this, actually, which is a bit irritating. But anyway, that's okay. That's life. There's a slide I have on what we're doing in telemetry. Maybe I'll just talk a little bit about that. So we're pulling, we've been working on telemetry for about 5 years now, and we started working with Google on it, and then many of the big vendors. And telemetry for us is, it's really about visibility. We're really bad at doing things that are in the network. That's an advert. We're really bad at doing things in the network and knowing what's going on. So we're really focused on that visibility, and that's where we've started to do some simple AI stuff, which is, if you imagine all the telemetry, if you bitmapped it as a picture, that picture might be blue. But if it suddenly starts to change shade of blue or change color, then something's happened. And then you can train the AI to learn, oh, if that blue suddenly turns a bit green, it might mean that we've got a problem, with our platform in Southampton or something like that. So that's one of the areas where we're doing a lot of research and development, and telemetry is really the enabler of that. Here's my ask to everyone in industry, I don't hear enough of us talking about that. We're all worried about Mano and provisioning and orchestration, which is somewhat boring in my mind. It's how do we get more insight from the network, and how do we use that insight? Because I don't think we're doing anywhere near enough of that, in my view. Sorry, if there is a question, I'd love to have it.
Actually, you answered my question because I was going to ask you about AI use cases. So
Yeah,
maybe someone else
so that's
has
one of them.
Okay, someone else had a question? Great. We have time for maybe one or two.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that on? Yeah. Hi, Phil Ridgely from Atos here. I'm interested to hear how you marry the agile mindset of a DevOps team with the high SLA requirements of the networks.
Yeah, I mean, we basically put everyone in a room and co-located them. And that's the only way you can do this. I mean, especially in a telco like BT where, you know, we're historically very siloed. But the goal is to focus on the outcome. I used to run network architecture at BT, and I run all of architecture. And I run all of technology and strategy, and pulling those pieces together you just can't not do it. And we've seen benefits of it in many areas, not just in network services, but for example on our TV platform, where we just won an Emmy for it because we've pulled that DevOps model together. We use microservices as much as we can, and we can build out and push out new updates almost daily now. We choose not to for other reasons, because people don't like their TV being interrupted. But you know, it's about what's the outcome, what's the best way of doing that. And actually, we use Agile in some of that, but not all of it, because there's this kind of view in the world that Agile cures world hunger. Actually, it doesn't. It causes a load of challenges as well, because you need to really know about what you're instrumenting and have that clear. Otherwise, all you do is have a really great Agile rework process. So it works in some areas, but it doesn't work in other areas. But co-location and putting people together. You know, we used to have in BT. We used to have architects that were like a network architect or an IT one. All that's killed. I want everyone to think about, you know, what are we building for the customer, and how do we get what the customer wants out in the quickest way. And that's how we've you know, in the space of a year built what I would say is quite a complex platform.
Thank you.
We can open up the floor to one more question if someone has one for Neil. Okay, well, I guess not. So thank you, Neil, very much.
Thank you.